Hey guys, welcome to the woods. Well, I just wanted to say I haven't been making videos every day, and everybody seems to be okay with it, and I really appreciate that. And it made me think about the fact that I really ought to say that I really appreciate people are watching these videos, because it keeps me doing them, and it keeps me, in order for me to make a video, I gotta be tuned in, tapped in, turned on, as Abraham Hicks would say. And it's easy for me to do it in the woods. It's, yeah, it's not the only place, but it's definitely easier in the woods. But I'm really working on it all throughout the day. Where was I on the scale of being connected to my soul or not being connected when I woke up this morning, and when I, was on the phone with so-and-so, or when I was meeting with someone, or when I was, exercising, or when I was listening to music, or when I was out here in the woods, or when I was with my wife. So you're always sort of assessing how connected am I to my soul. And then there's the other part of, reprogramming my brain to sort of trust that there's nothing I really need to do. There's nothing my soul wants out of me. There's no obligation. There's no way to disconnect the two. I am an energy ball. I'm just not always aware of it. As long as I'm aware of it, I'll notice it and I'll feel it and I'll, experience the bliss of being in connection, being, in resonance with good things around me. Because everything is around us, because it's like radio frequencies. It's like everybody's broadcasting a radio station. And I'm broadcasting many different radio stations. And so when I'm broadcasting that everything's perfect comes back to me, and I experience everything perfect. I see everything perfect. I see the perfection. It's not that I'm making things be different necessarily, but I see the rightness of what is. And then I just enjoy it. And I'm like, oh, I'm here for the journey. I'm here for the experience. I'm here for the sensations, for the contrast, for the, for the mixing and for the sorting, really. Sorting what feels good, what doesn't. How do I find the path of least resistance? How do I treat myself? How does my soul want to interact with a human? How does my soul, more importantly, or more interesting anyway, is how does it want to interact with the world? But I think when you're playing with that stuff, a lot of people don't really want to play with that topic. The sun's going to get me. They don't want to play with that topic because it always goes in the way back of their mind. Whoo, that's a bright one. Dag. So the wind's blowing and the trees are the parting of the trees. All right, so I'm just going to, I don't know. I'm not going to chase the shade all afternoon, but it's hot today, so no one's going to blame me. But it's probably 10 degrees cooler here than it is in the streets. All right. So my point was what? I think it's important to get back to this core concept that I talked about like 90 videos ago. And that is that we are energy balls of infinity. We don't have a beginning of time and end of time. We're energy. And we just change, we just transform. We don't go away, we don't end. We don't have a beginning or an end. So that concept is pretty universal in all religions, and so we're not going to get into what is that valid point, but nonetheless. So you've got this concept of being an infinite being. We call it a soul, and that soul floats around and does things around our planet and interacts with the energy of our solar system. And that's why astrology is important and things like that. And that's something that's been carried, they've definitely got signs of it being much more advanced prior to, like, we used to say, oh, we all came from caveman and we evolved and we got up to where we are. But the reality is we've been around this universe. The galaxy travels around the universe, 24,000 year circle. And when it comes over to where we are now, it devolves. It goes down to a lower vibration, and the planet actually devolves, which is sort of why they have that Adam and Eve story. They came from perfection and they've come down, they're over in this part of the galaxy. And this part of the galaxy is a low vibration, and the planet is affected by that. Our whole solar system is affected by that. So we're dancing around our planets, playing in the energy, creating humans on the planet Earth. And we've been rotating around, coming in and out of being a person on the planet many times, and all this 24,000 years, which we've done thousands of times. And the gig is you don't get to know who you are, especially when you're further away. So our communication to my body's, my mind's, ears, and all that, their sensitivities there to pick up all these vibrations, or some of the vibrations that are happening around us, but we're not aware that there's all broadcasts are coming at us and we broadcast out. We're just not aware of that phenomena. And it's part of the devolving of the planet around the galaxy, the 24,000 year circle. So that's why they talked about there was heaven on earth. Then there's, the struggles that we're going through now just because of our disconnection, not because we're doing anything wrong, but just because we're disconnecting from the God source, from our soul, from our ability to communicate. It's all still here around us, but we don't see and feel our past relatives around us and the energies of our past lives and all that kind of stuff. Lots of people do, but that's why. Because there's a lot of people that are, what do you mean that's why? I didn't even say why. Because they're tuned to that. They've been good at it the other times they went around. There's certain people that's their thing. So in the next life they'll be more evolved, as Jesus talked about, because that's what I was taught when I was a kid. But being Catholic, you didn't really get out this story about the planet going around the galaxy, but it sort of felt like it was our responsibility to clean this shithole up or get punished for it. so that's kind of my deprogramming that had to happen. But anyway, our planet Earth is rising naturally into a higher, more loving, connected to source, soul vibration. And now we have new words to sort of explain it. And if you take this concept of our devolving of the human species down into what we found, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 years ago, we were watching a devolving of humans. And yeah, we might have come from monkeys, but and gorillas and apes and whatever, but not in the last 4,000 or 10,000 years, like in the 100,000 years. The whole train is way more dragged out than we sort of put a few pieces that we see and we put it together and create this story. And that's, like the Earth was made, sometime just before the caveman or something. But anyway, or that the Earth was empty for, I remember that analogy, it's a good one, that if you spread your arms, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but this is what I was told. Spread your arms fingertip to fingertip is the time the planet Earth has been out here rotating around the galaxy for all those years, from fingertip to fingertip. And if you take your fingernail, that's how long humans have been on it that we know of. No. This energy, this whole complicated, convoluted, God-oriented, or, godness, it's just God. I don't know where you want to make differentiation. But they say, well, there's not much difference. You're made in his image and likeness. You're like his son. He's like, we call him Father for a reason, But anyway, so you can't not have a relation with the energy around you. We're just not aware of it because of the location of the planet in the galaxy. And it's not anybody's fault, but it's going to feel like hell. But here's the fun part. We're headed back up around. So we're at, if the clock was 12 o'clock was the most enlightened humans on the planet at 12 o'clock, we're at like 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock. So 6 o'clock is the most disconnected from who we really are. And they call that kind of the Dark Ages, which is ironic. But anyway, and then as you come up, we're becoming much more enlightened, and that's why technology is coming to us, and that's why I'm selling this point that connecting to your higher self and feeling the perfection of what's going on in your life and what you're experiencing, and appreciating what is coming at you, no matter what. And then once you get a softer feel for things, then you begin to realize that you're the one creating those situations, if you want, in your life. Call them good or bad or whatever. We're not trying to hoard away money and stuff to ease future pains. That's what humans that were disconnected, that didn't know who they really were, would do. We're squirreling it away because there's not going to be enough for our children and for us, and there's not enough of everything. And it's like, we've brought nothing into the planet. The planet can handle us all. Planet's fine. It's moving up to a higher vibration, which is going to help all of life on the planet. So it's going to improve no matter what we do. So it really doesn't make much difference. But it's much more fun to be a co-creator of your experience and realize that there's a new dialogue that needs to be learned. You know, to take what somebody did thousands of years ago and say, I want to model a whole story after this guy's life and teach you to be like this guy. There's not that anybody in any religion is not a guy to be, but the being part is going within. It's discovering who you are, discovering that, and taking initiative. I was going to say responsibility, but it's not responsibility. It's too hard. Take initiative would maybe be a little softer version of still pushing you, though. Take some initiative to learn about this stuff and work on reprogramming yourself. I really I've told you, like when I was in my teens, you know, Edgar Cayce's like 80-year-old material. So, but I first started a lot of my concept about us traveling, you know, and the planet influence and all that stuff from him. And then the Yugas is the book, but from India. That's their old writing, Yugas, and that talks about the actual planet moving around, but it's the same thing Edgar Cayce was talking about. And so then now the people talking about this language of how we connect to our higher self, to our God source, to our Christ consciousness, all these things apply, they all fit. But you got to just plug in your own words and just realize that it's not about being in the right frame of, you know, reference, or the right teaching, or the right religion, or the right way of doing something. It's just, do you feel right? Does it feel good? If you're not finding a sense of joy about everything that's going on in your life, then you're contributing to the struggle. And the struggle is not anybody's fault, and it's not even really relevant, because the planet's coming up, struggle or not. So struggle is going away, and that's why they talked about, you know, heaven was within and heaven is coming. Because you're going to go within. That's what's coming, is that connection is going to be so easy. And it's getting easier and easier all the time, and there's more and more people teaching how to do it. Now you can put one of those EEG electronic headsets on, and they can put you in the computer, and you'll figure out very quickly how to be, they call it, in the flow. You know, athletes are talking about that now. It's coming out in all different languages. I'm just sitting here in the woods telling you, but the message is out there, and your kids are going to be taught differently, and they're going to be much more sensitive than people my age and older were. But, you know, but there's been sensitive, connected, tuned in people, you know, all through that whole process of our, I say our struggle, but, you know, it's like, it just was a thing, but it was a struggle. We came through a really low vibrating point of the galaxy, and we've been here before. So that's why people come in and they have a lot of information already. Some people are really like tuned in, like Tesla with bringing his electric and stuff like that. It's just at the right time. He and Edison and a few others are all obsessed about how to make electric. And he got that all in his dreams. So he just knew how to tune in, and it's all he focused on was his connection. His connection to source was what it was all about. And anyway, so there's a lot of people out there teaching this stuff, just a matter of where do you want to go to get the information. I'm just here to remind you every day to relax, take it easy. You can't get it wrong, and you never get it done. A lot of those kind of things like that come from Abraham Hicks. I really like her stuff, and she's all over YouTube, and it's free, and I use it too. I mean, it's not concept. There's no new concept in there. There's nothing even really. It's just a million different ways to say the same thing, but to be honest, it's the same thing I'm doing. I'm just saying the same thing every day. Just let go. Take it easy on yourself. Learn to love yourself. Learn to love what's happening around you, and just walk all through your day with that sense of joy and appreciation, gratitude, and you watch everything around you just flip like a coin flipping over. It's like, oh, I just changed my frequency and I feel better and everything is better. So if you're not feeling good, then you've got everything, you're making mess, contributing to the tricky vibration. So catch up to the planet. The planet is moving along and it's doing a higher vibration. You're doing a higher vibration. So it's a good time to revisit this stuff. Meditation's a great way in. Focusing on your breath is really key. And just more often you can do a little bit of that throughout the day. You integrate it into your day. You're not trying to, be a guru and join some ashram or sit in church all day or quit your job and go work for the church or something. I'm not talking about that. This is integrate who you really are into the world. Ease up on yourself first. You're going to ease up then on everybody else. And it'll be beautiful. All right, my time's up. So, concluding thoughts? I don't know. I never know. But, I always like to talk about love bombs. So throw some love bombs on yourself. Throw some on other people. Exude that sense of joy. When you get it, milk it for all you can get. Be as joyful as you can for as long as you can, to as many people as you can, and give yourself a break. All right. Well, that's all I got to say about that. See you guys soon. I guess every other day I'm shooting for at this point. Getting busier. That's crazy. All right. See ya.